Hello, my name is Austin Curry, and this is Humanagement. So I'm going to do kind of an in-depth look into the knowledge base feature, which has quite a few different options. So in here, first thing is that there's a searchable knowledge base. So if I type in a word like anti, it's going to give me not only the article that has anti in the description, but also the article that has anti in the internal side. So if I search here, anti, so you can see here, this contained the word anti. So this is really useful when employees are in the company and they're maybe on the job or someone asks them a question. They can then search just a word or two that are part of that question and then find the related policy or write up, etc. So over here, it says why we make prompt policies, right? So this one has a number on it. The reason for this is because in an article, you can actually assign that article to divisions or positions. So since the user I am currently on is marked as a sales manager as one of his positions, this then shows up as something that's assigned to me. I can also click on this you all, on all employees. I can then find my name on here. I believe I'm here. And if you saw all the different positions, you'd see sales manager listed. And so it's assigned to me. So it'll remain there until I click acknowledge and mark as read. So this does a few things. One, it shows up in this log here, so anyone can see that I've now read this policy. Two, it will remove, so it's not showing up in why we make policies there anymore. So three, if this was part of a course that I was assigned, it will also mark that I've completed that part of the course, which I'll get to in a minute. But this is an extremely useful tool for giving policies to people, making things accessible. Additionally, if I were to go to a article that I've read before, like this anti-discrimination policy, then I could go in and see I've read it before. And so if I now were to kind of help fill out this template and actually put the company name, right? Then I could also, let's say, put it in here as well. And I could publish. So what that'll do is that'll notify all the employees who've read it before. In this case, it would have been just me. And it would show the policy in this format. So I can see what was removed and what was added. This is extremely useful when updating a policy because people who get it are going to know exactly what changed and they're going to be informed on that change. You can then hold them accountable. First, them getting a whole policy, they could read the whole thing, maybe not understand what changed, and then be lost on that. So now that employee gets a new chance to mark and spread. If you notice, the earlier read disappeared. And so if I click view all, you can see all the times it's been marked as read and updated or just compressed. Especially when you have a lot of employees, this compressed view is very, very useful. But it's always good to also be able to see all the time someone's read it or it's been updated. You could also, like in Google Docs, view this version. So if I click here, it'll show what that earlier version of that policy was. So you have that version control and stuff as well. Now, as far as marking things as read, you have some options. You can do a challenge. So you can either do a signature, which shows up as something that someone can sign. Maybe this is something that you need a signature for on. So this actually gets stored and you can print this off with your signature. Here you can see that signature was saved there, but also the employee profile, you can print that off. You can also do a question and answer. So in here, say, is it okay to discriminate? And the answer no is the correct one. So I can then save, publish that. So now the person that's going to get those options, they then need to click on the correct one to mark it as read, which is also stored. So this is just another way that you can kind of use this data a little bit more specifically. From here, you can also copy the link to this exact one. So in the case of wanting to share it to someone, I could then click that link, which would then bring someone to that policy. It's very easy for sharing directly. You can also generate a PDF of that, which will be there and you can use that to save or print or anything like that. So coming out of this view, you can then also go to this article's overview. So in the overview, you can see different articles here. You can sort by them and you can kind of view and play around with that data. So this lets you sort by title, by category, by date created, last edited. If you want to look at things chronologically, it can be very useful. You can also see some basic stats on number of users who have read or have read the current version. You can also ask questions. So when someone search for a question, if they don't find an answer, right? So if I typed in this, and there was no answer, then that person can ask a question. You can also choose for it to go to someone specific or just anyone. That shows up in asked questions. So this gives you a view of the data you aren't currently answering. Now you can solve this two ways by going on here and then creating an article for this, or you might want to delete this and then simply add some more tags like client to an existing policy. So if I went to this policy and I were to add the tag client, then save. So now if I type in the word client, that policy will show up. So that's just another way that it can be pretty useful. You also have drafts. So when you're creating a policy, you don't always have to publish it or publish each edit. You can put it into a draft state, which means that, people aren't going to see that till you decide to publish it again. So these are all just useful ways of kind of organizing and dealing with that knowledge, that intellectual property of a company. I think it one step further, you can also go and create courses. So in the course admin view, you can see all the courses you have. You can then create a new one. You can give it a title. You can give it a category. You can create categories or edit them. You can give it a priority assignment, assign it to an individual, or you can assign it to a division or position or responsibility. Same. So to create them, very easy. You would give each section a name. Like this is, let's say it's an onboarding one. This could be day 1. This could be day 2. And then you can drag these things over there. You can also self-search in here and then bring things over that way. Oh, that's already in there. You get the idea. So all of the questions that you added to a specific policy would then be included in here. If I were to do an actual course, then I could go to here. Or if I'm not an admin, I would simply go to, I wouldn't see the course admin. I'd only see assigned courses. I can see any courses that are assigned to me, which I haven't completed yet, or even ones that I have. And so to view that, what it would look like is you can see the different parts. They can go through. If they haven't read it yet, they could click mark as read there, and then they would just continue on with the policy. So very, very simple. In the course admin view, you can also view user progress. So you can see everyone who's been assigned it. And if they've done any parts of it, like if I click this onboarding one, see that this person, Austin, has done most of them, but you can see the last time that they did one of them. So you have that transparency as well. You could also go into here and then click on the read timeline. So this is a timeline of every article that was read and when it was read. So if you're trying to keep track of who's studying things, you can, do lots of filtering and other sorts of tools in order to better understand or use that data or monitor employees' training. So when you're on an article or when you're creating one, you have the option of making it public, all staff, or assigned only. So when an article is made public, what that means is that people can access it without even having to sign into the system. So if I go to view public access, then these are all the courses that have been made public. And so then someone can go to these, like if let's say you have some policies or something like a return policy. return policy might be great to put on your public knowledge base because you can send a link of that to anyone and people would be able to see the updates and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it can still live in your knowledge base so people can have that same data. So you can store, the link to that public knowledge base on your website. So some other ways that you can interact with policies, if you go to employees, users, you go to this org chart. So as you add employees, as you add positions, you can customize this. You can even do like a drag and drop to change, who people senior are and so like that. You can then further edit these in here, the users who have that position and all sorts of stuff. So in here, you can also view articles. And so you can then see all the articles that are assigned to that position, which can also be extremely useful. You can even view that entire policy. Obviously, some of this is sample data. You can edit it. You can pretty much interact with all this stuff. Obviously, this is all dependent upon permissions. So makes it really easy for you to kind of view that data. Like if you're trying to figure out exactly all the jobs of any one specific position, that can then give you that clarity. So the final way that you can interact with these knowledge articles is to go to a specific employee's profile. This is my profile. You can go to employees list and then view another employee's profile. And so in here, I could then see all the policies that this person has read. So this person obviously hasn't read any. But if we go to my profile, go down to the bottom, then I can see all the policies I've read. I can see if I've read the newest version or not, right? The last date read as well as last edited. And this is where I can then print off if it has like an e-signature or something in case you need to file that or prove that to someone. So lots of other features obviously in the software, but this is the basic understanding of the knowledge base. So finally in dashboard, any employee can then see all the policies or articles that are assigned to them. One more thing on the priority. So if I'm on a course, I could set something called priority. And so these groups will expand as you add more policies, or add more courses. But the basic idea is that you might want to ensure that people get courses in a certain order. So like an onboarding course might want to be group 1. The basic logic of this is all group 1 courses that are assigned to someone must be completed before they would see group 2, must be completed before they would see group 3. If there is no group 4, then once they finish group 3, they would get all the courses that are no priority. So this kind of lets you have a little bit more of an automated control on that dispersal of information, making sure people get things in the right order in a logical way. And so that then affects what shows up here, as well as in assigned courses as new courses to do. So hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of the knowledge base and the training software. And I look forward to you having a wonderful day and improving your business with Humanagement.